This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis. It's the Morning Majlis.
It is the Morning Majlis, and welcome back onto the program. And I am sure you guys were well acquainted with the Bu Nair festival that we've been talking about for the last week. And over the weekend, it all came to life. The plans of hosting the 21st edition in very different circumstances, and it has been described as a success by a number of senior government authorities that took part in the festival or even attended it. And we've seen a lot of statements coming out from the government highlighting its success, thanking the participants, and having a cracking time for that festival. But what's very important is the purpose of this festival.
Right.
And it's now time to hear from the people who work towards making this festival a success and are constantly working throughout the time on the preservation and conservation efforts. So let's welcome onto the airwaves Mr. Osama Wahba, a scientific researcher at the Environmental and Protected Areas Authorities in Sharjah. Very good morning to you, Osama.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's great to have you on Pulse 95 and on the Morning Majlis. Now, everyone's been talking about it. We've been promoting it. We've said it was a great effort, a great success. I'd like to get your perspective on how the festival went for the authority.
Actually, the festival was very successful in this unprecedented situation regarding COVID and all the issues related to measures taken to make everybody safe. It was really interesting, and it was very successful, actually.
Amazing. Now, we saw there was a lot of tug of war and a lot of competitions that took place, and everyone had a cracking time. But what's the main purpose of having the Bu Nair festival? I know, because normally it's open for the public only for the 2 days of the festival.
The purpose of this festival has been held for that. This is the 21st cycle. The main purpose is to promote awareness of the cultural, environmental, and heritage issues to the public, because the island has a particular interest related to the situation. They are in the middle of the Gulf. They've been occupied by family 1,600 years ago. And there was a lot of activities in the island years ago regarding fishermen, especially this pearl fishing things. So fishermen used to go there. So, I mean, the island topography is different, and environmentally is different from all the islands around the whole Gulf.
Yeah, Osama, can you talk more about the environmental tourism and cultural importance of the Bu Nair Reserve?
Yeah, I'll talk environmentally first, because environmentally, the island is a hot spot for biodiversity. For example, it has the largest number of coral species. We have over 40 species of coral. You don't find this anywhere. At the same time, we have a great number of fish around these corals, and the coral cover and the biodiversity is huge. When you look at the birds, a large number. It's a migrating route for birds, especially sooty gull and other birds. When you look at the turtles, it's the biggest island in the Gulf where you can find nests around yearly over 300. This year is, at the moment, it's a 307 nests. So I mean, it's a hot biodiversity spot. If you move to the culture thing, as I told you before, this island used to be settled by all people, starting from 1,600. They used to rest, and one of the families, Bu Nair family, used to stay in the island for their living. And it's been very interesting point for fishermen to take a break and rest while having their bird fishery around the island. So the island has its importance and it's luckily it's a protected area by the law, and it's protected by nature since it is away from the shoreline. It's 120 km from shoreline of Sharjah, and it's not easy accessible. So you need to take a boat to go there. And it's the topography of the island. It's a mountainous. It's red. It's the red color. It's ferric oxide. When you look at the map, it's red, and it's fantastic view.
And Osama, since we're talking about the 21st Sayr Bu Nair Environmental Festival, can you talk to us about the attendance? For example, who were the targeted segments of society at this festival?
Years ago, and I remember there was no COVID, there was no such precaution restriction. We used to have over 2,000 people from all the society sectors. Tourism, sports, and all the authorities in Sharjah. But this year was a bit restricted to a certain attendees, like police and sports clubs and other activities. But the number was not that large because we can't risk on putting this large number on risk because of the COVID. Yeah. So it was okay for this year. It was a challenge. Everybody was happy with returning this festival because we did not have this festival last year. So returning this festival is a good sign for returning the normal activity. Everybody was extremely happy, actually.
Osama, it's pretty interesting hearing you talk about the diversity of species at the Sayr Bu Nair Island. And throughout your work as a scientific researcher with the Environment and Protected Areas Authority, can you tell us why we need to conserve biodiversity, why it's important to have projects like the Sayr Bu Nair Island and other biodiversity conservation projects here in the Emirates?
I mean, the whole island is very important. As I said, if we're talking about living things, we have large number of birds, large number of turtle nesting. We have two species of turtle, the green turtle, hawksbill, and hawksbill is the major one. We have a great number of corals, fishes, so it's very important biodiversity, while we've seen a decrease in the biodiversity along the whole Gulf, and especially in areas close to the shoreline because of the development. So the other services provided for the marine ecosystem is very important. Biodiversity will help the other environment to recover. When you look at this island, it's a bank where corals can produce and export larvae and other corals to the other places when they are subject to environmental, the climate change issues. At the same time, in terms of biodiversity, we don't want to lose our resources. If we lose resources, it's a big problem. We have a regulation and we have the law, and Sayr Bu Nair has been declared as a protected area time ago, and now it is in the World Heritage Candidate List, and it's a Ramsar site. So we are in the process to put Sayr Bu Nair in the green list, to IUCN green list. There is a lot of effort that has been done to make this island in the international list to protect the biodiversity.
No, it certainly is very important to have these occasions and events to celebrate what we have to offer in the United Arab Emirates and in the Sharjah Emirate in particular. Osama Wahba, the scientific researcher at EPAA, thank you very much for joining us this morning and enlightening us about the importance of conservation and sustainability.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for being with us.
It was a pleasure to have you on air with us for sure. This was our discussion about the recap of Sayr Bu Nair Island that took place, the festival that took place over the weekend. For now, the Morning Majlis shall take a bit of a breather. We'll let you soak in the musical entertainment that we have to offer, and we'll be back right after the business news headlines, courtesy of Hani Balkis. And if you'd like to catch this discussion as a podcast, you can do so on SoundCloud and Apple Podcast for sure. Stay tuned. This is the Morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.